Oh, good morning to all of you, and today discuss a very important aspect in any research, specifically the research which we are mostly doing in the context of social science, specifically the primary research. See, I'm just going to tell you today the how to prepare a good questionnaire. It is a short guide to questionnaire design. You see, generally it comes in our mind whenever we do any kind of research that what to ask, how to ask. All these things depends upon that how you are preparing your questionnaire. Because the clarity of your questionnaire will give you the clarity in your data. The clarity of your questionnaire will help you in giving a kind of good outcome for your research. Because if your questionnaire is clear, then you can do a better analysis. And how your questionnaire will be clear? I have told you earlier also repeatedly, I am keep on telling that their questionnaire clarity based on also your objective and the variables you have taken, and also the methods which you are going to use also in collecting the data. Because sometimes might be your questionnaire is very good, but ultimately if you fail in collecting the information, then you may not able to collect the proper analysis, because that you also need that proper kind of training, and the trained people should be sent to the field for collecting the information. Anyhow, that is the next part which we'll discuss later on. But anyhow, so now I'll tell you the different steps and different guidelines which you have to follow while preparing the questionnaire. This is very, very important in our research. See, it is an instrument usually used for collecting the primary data from the field. It is an instrument consists of list of questions to be answered by the respondent according to the specification or detail mentioned in the covering data. See, generally what exactly happen whenever we do any kind of research, we used to be confused from the very beginning, those who are very new to the research usually, that what is the basic difference between questionnaire and schedule. So it is different things, but most of the time what we feel that it is similar. See, generally what happen, a questionnaire is nothing but an instrument which consists of list of questions in which the answer supposed to be given by the respondents according to the specification or details mentioned in the covering data. So here, while we are telling about the questionnaire, here the instructor is not there. The person who is supposed to collect the data is not there. Rather, the questionnaire either handed over with certain instruction, or the questionnaire is being sent through email, through mobile, or through by surface post to the respondents, and the respondents fill it up according to the instruction mentioned there, according to the specification mentioned there, then send it back either through email or through phone or through whatever, in WhatsApp or any social media, or through surface post. So what I'm telling here, and either you can go to somewhere, personally distribute the questionnaire in a class or in a meeting, give certain instruction, then you leave, then you went there after half an hour or 1 hour and collect the questionnaire from the individual. But here, who will fill up the response? The respondent has to fill up the response. But it is not the same in the context of schedule. A schedule is something different from the questionnaire. It is an instrument which is highly codified and a tabular form of statement. The researcher has to with the schedule. Here, generally, the researcher or investigator asks the question, and based on the respondent's response, the researcher or investigator fill up the questionnaire. So that means here you see the questionnaire is being filled out by the respondents. The schedule is being filled out by the researcher or the investigator, and the questionnaire may be sent through mail, by post, or can be distributed and used to be filled by the respondents without the presence of the researcher. And how they will fill up? The instruction is being mentioned there, or the instruction being shared from the very beginning in an introductory statement. But the schedule is something different. It used to be filled by the researcher or the investigator himself or herself while in the field or while in the office, whatever. It is a direct contact between the researcher and the respondent. And schedule is something, it is a kind of instrument which is highly codified and it is a tabular form of statement. So, see, this is the basic difference between the questionnaire and the schedule. Anybody any doubt on this? What is questionnaire and what is schedule and basic differences? Or are you clear now? Otherwise, we'll move ahead. Anybody any doubt? Okay. So I think you are clear now. So let's do it. Now you forget that what is questionnaire and schedule for the time being, because we are going to discuss the purpose of a questionnaire or the schedule. Now you think that means the same domain which I am going to tell you how to prepare questionnaire or the schedules. Okay. So you see the purpose of questionnaire, why we prepared a questionnaire or schedule, whatever. It will help ensure you standardization and compatibility of the data across the interview. Everyone is asked the same question. Nothing, because you see, if you prepare the questionnaire and ask the similar questionnaire to everybody, so then what will happen? The standardization will be maintained and compatibility of the data will be maintained across the interview. It is not that I prepare the one questionnaire for the similar stakeholder. I cannot prepare the different questionnaire, because if I prepare a different kind of questionnaire, then the moment I will enter the data, the moment I will start analysis, the moment I will start tabulation, it will be very difficult in my part. Then what will happen to the questionnaire? It increase the speed and accuracy of recording, because if I'll go with a questionnaire, then it will help in maintaining the speed of collection data and maintaining the record of all the data. It facilitates data processing, because what I told, if I am having a questionnaire, then what will happen? Because the data will be collected in a standardized form and a compatibility manner. Through that, what will happen? It will help me in getting in data entry and data processing and tabulation of the data. And the questionnaire also helps in the researcher in collecting the relevant information, because sometimes what happens, if I am not going with a questionnaire, what will happen? I may not able to collect the relevant information. So that's why it is highly essential, which will help us in collecting the relevant information. Then if my questionnaire is having certain kind of problem, or if my kind of problem, then what will happen? It will bring an incomplete information. It will give me an inaccurate data, and which will lead in a higher cost for me. Because if my design is wrong, if I prepare an improper design of my questionnaire, then obviously I will not able to collect the proper information, and obviously my data will be not correct. Data, there will be no compatibility. Then what will happen? Again, I have to prepare the questionnaire. Again, I have to go and collect the information, or I may face in problem of entering the data. I have then when I tell for kind of tabulation of the data and all, I have to recruit more peoples. Even if I recruit less people, they will take more times to make it in a proper way. So what I'm telling, this improper design will cost me so many things. Time, money, everything will be cost if I won't prepare in a proper manner. Now let us discuss about the questionnaire types first. The questionnaire usually can be unstructured, semi-structured, and structured. Generally what happens? In a qualitative research, sometimes we use the questionnaire in a very unstructured or semi-structured manner. But in a quantitative research, generally we use the structured questionnaire. The structured questionnaire helps us in quantifying the data. So that's why in quantitative research, mostly we use the structured questionnaire. And in qualitative research, mostly we use unstructured or semi-structured questionnaire. What is structured questionnaire? Structured questionnaire is there again two types. One is open-ended, another is closed-ended. See, closed form of questions simply consist of some questions which seeks definite, precise, and predetermined range of answer to the question. Here, the researcher answer about the range of answer. So that means you see, in closed-ended questionnaire, what exactly happens? The researcher has already certain kind of knowledge, and he already have range of answers. He has already assumed that these will be the probable answer. So accordingly, what he will do? He mentioned in the questionnaire some kind of A, B, C, D, some kind of multiple choice, and you have to pick one. Suppose I ask the question that how are you cooking? And I am already having knowledge that people might be cooking through gas or might be through electricity using coal, wood, or cow dung. These are the major source of cookings. The energy which gives either gas, electricity, coal, wood, or cow dung. So here my questionnaire is closed. So when I have given this 5 options to the peoples, then the people may tick the here that which mode of or which source of energy they are using for the cooking. Here the answer is closed. The respondent has to tick a option given to him or her. So when the researcher has no much scope here, the respondent has no much scope here. He has to tick something which is given by the researcher. In open-ended, here the researcher is not aware about the range of answer. Means the researcher is giving an opportunity to the respondent to clarify what exactly he or she feels. Here, the respondent has given a freedom, complete freedom has been given by the researcher to the respondents to answer the questions according to their opinion and free will. Get my point? So that means here I am not compelling as a researcher on the respondents that what will be his or her answer. So he or she are completely free to give their answer here. Suppose I am looking into this marriage and divorce as my mechanism, as a kind of my research domain, and I want to collect the information from some of the people who have divorced their wife. then I don't know the region. Might be I assume some of the region, but might not be, that might be the region. The region might be something different. Here I can ask that in a very open-ended question, I can ask to the respondent, under what condition you have divorced your wife? What makes you? So that means it will be more narration. The person, suppose X, will here narrate what was the circumstances and what forced him to divorce his wife. Get my point? So that means here the researcher is not compelling within certain uh, kind of barriers with certain kind of option to the respondents. Anyway, let's just move away from this. I'll tell you. See, okay, I'll tell you. See, generally, what happened whenever we go for coding and all in the qualitative research, also we face little difficulties. For that, I always advise the people also, the students also, that how to use pre-coding before going to the field also. I'll tell you in details. Let me to first finish, then I'll tell you the how to do coding and whether it should be post-coding, pre-coding, and all these things we'll discuss. See, I can ask some peoples in an open-ended question, what is your perception towards the government's intervention in managing the COVID? Suppose I can go into any tribal area and ask the people that what is your perception to the local governance system in managing the COVID in your area? And even I can ask the people that what kind of steps as a people of a particular village you have taken to manage the COVID. Get my point? So here I don't have an idea as a researcher that what might be the probable answer. I may assume, but I kept myself as a completely free from all these aspects and as giving a complete freedom to the people to narrate their view here. So that means you see, based on your objective, you prefer either you'll prefer the open-ended questionnaire or closed-ended questionnaire, or you can sometimes keep both open-ended and closed-ended questionnaire. You see, generally even in the qualitative research, also we follow sometimes the semi-structured kind of questionnaire and also some kind of also not always a kind of uh, also we follow some kind of open-ended questionnaire with closed-ended. So that means we also use sometimes based on your type of research, because mostly if your research is a little bit not completely qualitative in nature, not completely ethnographic in nature, so that there we used also sometimes structured questionnaire with some checklist kind of things. See, but if I'm doing completely ethnographic research, I maybe take some semi-structured kind of or unstructured kind of interviews, schedules or questionnaires. Here, your objective, your the basic problem of your research guides you what kind of questionnaire you will prefer. So, anybody any doubt on these slides?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
So, can you give
can you
some
give some
example for
examples for
unstructured and
unstructured and
semi-structured questions?
semi-structured questions?
See, this is there is no much differences. Suppose if I am preparing a kind of questionnaire, suppose I am just taking some bullet points. That suppose I want to have a discussion in the village, one-to-one households, and also I can have a FGD focus group discussion with the villagers. I can just mention a kind of some question I can mention. What is the name of your village? What is the name of the head of the households? What is the age of your, how many children are there? All these things I mentioned. Then I can go as how many acres of land you have. Then these are all I'm not mentioning there how many acres of land there you have. I have kept it completely open here. Then I'm just mentioning that. Then I'm mentioning that I will discuss about their income in details. Means I'm not going in details in my questionnaire. Means income, one of the aspect, and under income I may ask them how many people are engaged in their house, whether male or female, and what is the age group of those earning members in the family, and what is their usual incomes and all. So there, what I'm telling, I am just keeping as a bullet points with me that these are the aspects which I am going to ask. And suppose there are different policies is being introduced by the government. I'm asked what difficulties you are facing. Have you received the Indira Awas? Have you received the job card? Have you do you have a BPL card? Do you have food food security card and all? What kind of problems you are facing and all? These are the aspects. Means I can mention in an unstructured way or in a semi-structured way that which I can ask to the people. So nothing to worry. I'll whenever I'll also after this, whenever I next class, I'll show you some questionnaire that will be, because if it is a physical mode, it would have good. But then I'll show you some questionnaire. There you can understand in a better way also.
Also, like I have a doubt. Like if we take up a research in future, like is it necessary that we have to take a structured question throughout the research, or we can also include unstructured questions between?
No, I didn't get you.
No, sir. Like if we in the research, is it necessary that we follow the uniformly only structured question in our research, or should we also include like unstructured? Can we
See, that's
in between?
see depends upon who are your stakeholders and what methods you are following. See, if I am going for a kind of FGD, so what is the need of taking a very structured questionnaire there? Because FGD will be more focused group discussion. We are going to discussion. There I am going with a checklist. There I can go with a unstructured questionnaire. This is called a kind of checklist kind of things. I can go and interact with the peoples. And it depends upon what kind of research you are doing. If you are doing more in ethnographic research, suppose I am doing the festivals and rituals the villagers are celebrating. Suppose I am doing research on that. So there, I can go and interact with the. So there, no need of mentioning the questionnaire in a very structured way. I can just mention certain kind of bullet points, either in the questionnaire or I can kept it in my hand as a bullet points, or I can keep all this information in my mind and I can go and ask one by one, and with the permission of the person with whom I am interacting, I can write it down or I can record it there. It depends completely on what topic you are doing the research. It is not necessary that you have to only take the unstructured questionnaire. You can use both also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. So this is very important thing. So that's what I'm telling. We ask as much as question you have. Okay. Principle of question design. How? What are the principles you have to follow while preparing the questionnaire? First is, I'm repeatedly telling, objective of your research, because from your objective you will come to know that what exactly you are going to do. From objective, then what you have to do? You list of the items and variables on which you are focusing. How you will identify the variables? Suppose if I am doing the impact of mining, suppose one of my objective is to explore the impact of mining on local livelihoods. Then what are the livelihoods variables here? What do you mean by livelihoods? First, I should be very clear. What do you mean by livelihoods? Maybe livelihood is means of living. I have to have a very careful while selecting the livelihoods. Then which frame I am using? My conceptual framework, because there is a DFID framework on livelihoods. There is a 5 capitals. So if I am focusing on that, my variable will be on the basis of 5 capitals. That is physical capital, social capital, financial capitals, human capitals, natural capitals. There are 5 capitals I have to look into. And if I'm looking into this 5 capital aspect in my conceptual framework, then my variables will be focused accordingly. So when I'm looking into those kind of physical capital, I look into the impact due to mining. What kind of physical, what is the impact of this mining on the physical capital of an individual, which includes the house, the assets, might be whether because of this mining somebody has economically enriched, for which he invested in constructing new house. He might have brought the new car, he might have brought the new cycle, he might have brought the new bike, he might have brought the new mobile phone, new TV, whatever the assets of the home, whatever maybe. Let him to, you can mention all these things in our questionnaire, the asset list, before mining and pro mining, post mining. Then you can look into this natural capitals. What are the source of water prior to the mining, and what is the status of all those sources? What are the status of agricultural land? What is the status today? What is the status of local biodiversity? What are the source? What are the status of forest? What is the status of today? And what kind of damage has come to the agricultural land, to water bodies, to forest? All these things comes under natural capital. Then social capital, you can look into this variable here. Social capital is nothing but which deals with the social trust, the trust and dependency and in kind of interrelationship between individuals. So what kind of impact is common to that? And social capital also, under the social capital, you can discuss about what kind of impact it has come into the village festival, village rituals, village relationship, the community feast, all this aspect you can explore. Because generally whenever we tell about the livelihood, we mostly think of the livelihood is nothing but our economic improvement. That is comes under the financial capitals. It is not that the livelihood is only economics aspect. Livelihood is mostly also social aspect also, because whenever in generally in the domain of social science we should look the livelihoods not independently than life, because life and livelihoods are linked together. So whenever we're looking into the livelihoods, we have to also focus on life and livelihoods. And my life is completely depends upon different kind of domains, which also has a certain kind of influence in our life. So means you should be very much careful that what are the variables you are using. Whenever I'm coming to the financial capital, it depends upon my source of income here, what I'm doing, what are the opportunities available, and how many agricultural land I have, how much labor I am getting per annum. If I'm a government employee or private company employee, what is my salary, what is my source of income, all this income, my income, saving, my expenditure, all this, the investment, all these things comes under this. Right? Then human resource. If my income has gone up, how much money I have spent on education, how much money I have spent my health, during post mining period, what kind of improvement has come in the education and health sector, because human resource, that is human capital, so it's based on your health and education mostly, right? So whether mining has deteriorated health, so that means the human capital has deteriorated there because of mining and all. And in some context, mining is also has given you an opportunity in learning the certain skill development. So how the different companies has given a skill-based training, through that your knowledge is being, the human capital is also enhanced. Right? You have to look the things from a very critical perspective. So that means it needs your clarity on the variables and the items which you are going to deal because of your objective of research. The instrument used should not be too large or too simple. See, if you prepare a questionnaire, which is a big questionnaire, if you prepare a questionnaire with a huge questionnaire, because I have had experience of working in different sectors, I've seen people prepare the very long questionnaire, but ultimately, whenever you go to the field, it may discourage the people to answer. Because if I'll go with a very long questionnaire, then people from the very beginning will lose their patience. That okay, this much large volumes of questionnaire, how much time it will take? Who has time to answer? You should be very careful also about the content. What content you are taking? If you are working on a particular topic, your content should be accordingly. Suppose you are working on something X and your questionnaire is something y. So then it is not wise, because your content should have link to your variables. Your content should have link to your objective. Your content, if is not matching with your objective or your variables, then it is a problematic in the future. Does it meet the editing, coding, data processing requirements? You see, this is very important things which I was telling from the beginning. You have to prepare the questionnaire in such a way that it should be properly edited, properly verified, and also completely coded. Because if your questionnaire is not coded, and you will face problem while entering the data and processing the data. Suppose you see here, while I will enter the data in the software, I should not type. Suppose I will give one example. Suppose I want to the marital status. What may be the status of a marital status of a person? Either he is married, unmarried. Then I can, if I want also, I can mention that not this the marriage age, third option. Fourth I can mention that might be a widow. Sixth is a widower. Seventh might be is divorced. Eighth might be separated. Now, these are all opportunity of a marital status of a person. Either one is for married, two is for unmarried, third is not reached the marriages, fourth is divorced, fifth is separated, sixth is widow, seventh is suppose widower. Like this I mentioned. So then what will happen? I used to mention one against married, two against unmarried. So while I get into the data, there I should not every time type married, unmarried, widow, divorce. Rather, I should use the number only. I can use only the number key in the keyboard, and accordingly I push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I just see the questionnaire, then click. Suppose 3 is not registered the marriages. Getting my point? So that means I have to code it. Suppose when I was asking how you are using the what is the source of energy you are using for cooking? One is gas, two is electricity, three is coal, fourth is wood, fifth is cow dung. Suppose somebody told cow dung, I should not type there cow dung. I should just, because while I will make the software, there I will feed my all the questionnaires, all the information I will feed. If I will 5 is for cow dung. So then when I enter the data, if I use the 5, it will show that cow dung. Get my point? The software will show the cow dung. So at the end, whenever I will just give a click in the end of the button after entering the data, it will show me how many people are using gas, how many people are using cow dung, how many people are using electricity. All these things will give a clear picture. But I am not typing repeatedly for repeated things. So I am only using numerical, that is number. I am using only number. I am not using any descriptive kind of data in my keyboard. I am only using numerical in my those who have experience in the working in various software, that is Excel or SPSS or Strata, they might have or reviews, they might have knowledge on this. Hello, are you clear now what I'm telling? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So here I'm just telling you. Suppose even when generally I always guide my students also, that even in qualitative kind of open-ended questionnaire also, I tell my student sometimes use some coding also, which will help you. That is called pre-coding questionnaire. Generally what happen, I always tell my students, as you have already studied, suppose what I am telling, suppose if I am asking somebody, so what is your perception, what is your response towards the agricultural productivity in the post-mining period? So you see, I have already a literature knowledge that this might be the answer by the peoples. So what I can write that, because people will tell in a more descriptive way, but all this description may not required for me, because they may tell in a story kind of things. So, but ultimately I have to pick up what exactly the core philosophy of his description, the core ideas of his description, that is required for me. So there I can mention that, okay, the mining has completely destroyed the agricultural land. Mining has just Two, mining has reduced drastically the agricultural productivity. Third, because of the rise of cost, the people have discouraged for the production. So what I can do here, I can at the end I can mention A and B, A, B, C. I can stress my codings through that what I can mention while I'll enter the data, I can just doing instead of doing again doing the post coding, and sometimes you see I may get some more information. I may get some more information which I may not have written. So then whenever I get a new information, I can start giving another coding number 6 for this new information, and I can keep all these things in my brain if I personally is going to the field and collecting information. But if I engage lots of people in collecting information, it may differ again. So there what I can do, then again we have to do the post coding and all these things. So here I can tell my, if I'm going as a researcher independent to the field, or I've sent only one person to the field, there I can tell you give a new coding for the new response you got, and you continuously use the same code 6 for the similar kind of answer given in the by if anybody has given the similar kind of answer. And if somebody give another again new kind of response, you give it 7, the coding 7. So through that what will happen, while you will enter the data, your data is completely qualitative, but you are making the qualitative information in a quantitative way. So if I will tell that because of mining the divorce rate has increased, so I cannot give a statement. I have to support with a quantitative information that this much percentage of the people in the field responded that because of this mining intervention, which has increased to the industrialization, which has widened the scope for the urbanization, which has invited the urban culture, for which the divorce rate has increased in their locality. Getting my point? So means my quantitative information is giving a support to my qualitative description here. You should have an idea that whether your respondents having idea about your topic or not. Because you see, if you are, I'm working on tribal people, so who are mostly living in a very remote location, who are not much kind of developed in that, because it is again varies where I am working. If I am working on the tribal population who are more close to the urban area, they might be a little aware about some things. But the people living in a very remote location, either rural or completely or the tribal peoples, so I have to be very much clear about the people whether they can respond on this topic or not, whether they have an idea or not. Suppose if I go and ask about the government policy and all, I will not expect the local and tribal people all might be having in details about the topic. So means all the policies, they may not have an idea, but some of must have an idea, because that also, suppose if I am doing work on any kind of policy related, I should ask the people also whether you are aware about this policy or not. So whether your view is being taken if when they forwarded in policy in the local level or in the or the higher level, whatever. Means what I'm telling, that idea I should have first before preparing the questionnaire. Whether the respondent will be willing to answer your question or not, that is also highly essential. Because if you, what I was telling from the beginning, if you prepared a very long, lengthy questionnaire, if you prepared a questionnaire with a very difficult words and all, so the respondent may not respond in a proper way. And you see, if it is scheduled, it's fine. At least you can change the language and interact. But if you are sending a questionnaire, it is very tough, because there you will be not there. If your content is very complex, the respondent may not understand, he may not answer. And even the second thing is also language problem. So if I am sending the questionnaire in the English by post, if the respondent is not able to read the English and understand the English, also that is again a problem. So I have to look into the vernacular language, and even if it is vernacular language, whether that person is illiterate or illiterate, whether he is or she is able to read or not, that should be also in my domain of preparing while designing the questionnaire also. Then things to be avoided while preparing the questionnaire. What should be avoided? See, the ambiguity words such as often, occasionally, usually, regularly, frequently, many should not be used in the questionnaire. If these words have to be used, their meaning should be explained properly. Suppose if somebody asked you that uh, uh, do you drink? Suppose somebody will ask you the question, then you will tell occasionally. Then somebody told often, usually, regularly, frequently. What is the meaning of all these things? Because if somebody will tell occasionally, it may be once in 5 years, it may be once in every month. Maybe. Suppose somebody told often, what does it mean? What is the frequency of that often? What is the meaning of usually? What is the meaning of regularity? So that's why all this kind of terminology you should avoid. Because what I'm telling, because this kind of question usually comes and while people use it to give answer. So this is very ambiguity kind of things. So leading question that suggests or implies certain answer. Suppose borrowing loan from SBI or commercial bank. If I'll ask somebody, where are you borrowing the money? Then it could have fine. But if I'll ask somebody, are you borrowing the money from SBI bank or commercial bank? He might be borrowing the money from both the banks, SBI or commercial banks. But prior to that also, I should have knowledge whether he borrows money or not. Okay. So because in my questionnaire it should be stepwise also. I should first ask, sir, have you ever borrowed any money from some source? Second, if yes, from which kind of bank usually you prefer, whether commercial bank or public sector banks, which kind of banks you usually prefer? Then the third question is, which PSU bank, if he told that from PSU, which PSU bank you prefer? I can mention some of the banks, and then SBI, Baroda Bank, then the 4-5 banks I can mention, then I can mention others. Okay. So then loaded question, social desirability are emotionally charged. I should not ask the question which is emotionally attached to somebody. That kind of question I should avoid. Then long worded question, my question should not be very long, lengthy, and the words should not be very complex enough. Then double barrel question, a single question in which we ask about more than one issue, it should be avoided, but only allows for one answer. Whether you travel by bus or train, it is double barrel. So means some people may travel both by bus and train also. So I can have asked them how you travel. So there I should not mention whether you travel by bus or train. Then jargons, I should avoid some jargons. And I should not mention the lots of jargons in my writing. So my write-up should avoid some jargons in the questionnaires. Then embracing, sensitive, threatening question. Have you charged more for your credit card than you should? So very sensitive things. Why somebody will describe with me? So this embarrassing, sensitive, threatening kind of question we should avoid. And I should not ask certain question which will somebody will feel embarrassed. Somebody is very personal things I should not ask. If I ask somebody, do you go for health checkup for heart disease? Am I aware about whether he is suffering from heart disease or not? Because I'll give an example. Once somebody came to me, one marketing person once he came to me, and I was in the department. He came to me and asking me, sir, can I talk to you for a while? I told yes, please come. Then we are having an interaction. Then he was keep on asking me without giving me any scope. He was just keep on narrating that, sir, I'm so and so. I'm working in this marketing company. We are having a very good product on diabetes, and this is a very good medicine for the diabetes. And there are lots of people who use this medicine have cured, and it is highly appreciable in the market. So he was keep on telling for 10 minutes without giving me any scope for this. Then after 10 minutes, I told, is it over? Then he told yes. Then I asked him one question. What I'll do? You narrated me for 10 minutes. You waste my 10 minutes time. And what I'll do with your narration and with your medicine? Then he told me, sir, you can take this medicine. Then I told, see, gentleman, you are a marketing person, but you are not having common sense in your. Then I told, what, sir? Why? I told, while you came to me, then if you could have told me from the beginning, sir, I am so and so. You have given me an introduction, but not in a proper way. And sir, I am here for promoting a medicine which is useful for the diabetes. Sir, do you have anybody? I cannot ask directly, are you suffering from diabetes? Sir, do you have any relatives, friends, colleagues who are suffering from diabetes? Or anybody at your home? This medicine will be useful. So if you feel I can proceed further, otherwise you can just guide me whom I can meet. Then what could have happened if I am suffering from diabetes, or if anybody is from my home or relatives, I may develop an interest, interact with him. But if I am not suffering from diabetes or anybody from my home, so why should I unnecessarily waste time? See, if he could have asked me from the beginning, I could have sent him, please you go, we have a health center, you please go and talk to our doctor. Though doctor will not give you the details of diabetes patient, but he can suggest you these are the people who are really having the serious problem, and if you feel this medicine is good, you can go and talk to them. Otherwise, if you could have asked me, sir, do you know some of your colleagues, some of your friends in the campus and all, I could have obviously guided him. You can go and meet those persons with whom I am very close. I can send them. Getting my point? So means his way of asking the question is wrong. So means I'm not suffering from diabetes. If you'll just narrate all this medicine relating to diabetes, what I'll do there? I'll be no way helpful to him. So that's why you should be very much careful about asking the question. And sometimes some personalized questions should not be asked. And specifically, if a boy is dealing with a girls, if a boy is dealing with women's health, is very problematic. And if also, and if suppose you are working on other sectors, suppose somebody is working on prostitution, how to deal, how to develop a questionnaire, how to ask them, all these things should be very careful. And whenever, if you are dealing with some politicians also, if you want to take some interview from politician and all, so what kind of question you have to ask? And it should be very clear. See, I have an experience when I was very new to the research. So what happened actually? See, I am telling you, people are very lucky that we are teaching in a more research oriented, not in a more kind of theoretical things. Generally, in different universities and all, they used to simply teach the questionnaire what is in the text. Whenever I am teaching in a more research oriented things, from the linking to the field to you, through that you will have a better understanding. So what I'm telling here, you see, I just went to a kind of higher officials and asking him with certain kind of basic. My question was from simple to complex, but from the very beginning I asked some basic question about the policy. Then he was a higher official, immediately reacted, and he told me, how come you are asking all this question to me? Do you think that as an official I am not having ideas on this? I told him, sir, I know, but some basic things I have to ask because of to proceed. And I told, sir, I have no intention of getting the information whether you are aware or not. Obviously, I know as you are the dealing officer, you are dealing with this. But what I learned from there, it could not have in my questionnaire, because if I'm asking the questions to the higher level officials, some of the basic questions could have removed, and or even if it is there, I could not have asked. I could have straightway gone to the little in depth instead of asking them the basic things. Because the moment I asked the basic thing, he was little bit annoyed with me. We should avoid assuming a question with a question. Which brand you drink, without knowing whether he drinks or not. Getting my point? So that means we should not avoid assuming certain question within the questionnaire. things to be in the mind. Questions should be logically from one to the next. General questions should be asked before more specific ones. So I think I'll stop here, because otherwise completely if I'll keep on telling you will be in trouble. So this can be discussed in the next class. So if you have any doubt till this, you can just tell me. Anybody any doubt on this? Hello.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Are you all clear now? Can you develop a questionnaire if I'll tell? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good. So in future you will not have much problem. You can easily develop a questionnaire.